What's good, everybody? RJ Shelton here, back with another BD Boys. My right, your left. Got my good brother James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. How we doing,
Man, it is an Indian summer out here today.
man?
Like we thought Indian summer was done. And for those of you who don't know what Indian summer is, it's basically a warm fall. But
Right.
I woke up, I was out of the house today by 5:55 to get to work, and it was 70 degrees. I'm like, what is this? Like I didn't like it. I was like, And then I got out of work, it was 80 degrees. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on today. So now I got my window open right now. It's probably a brisk 72, 73. I'm like, it's supposed to be fall, man. Fall is one of my second favorite times of year, and it sucks. I hate it. But we get to go golfing more, and you and me golfing this weekend. So like that, there's some positives to that.
Absolutely.
So you better be ready
There's
on
always
Saturday.
positive. I'll try to. Let's hop into it. Obviously, if you're new here, we do talk about our Wisconsin sports, but for the people that have already tuned in, you already know what the lineup is. Packers went ahead and beat the Jaguars 30-27. Jordan Love was 14-22 from the field, 196 yards, one interception. Obviously, we all know that he got hurt. I want to say in the first quarter, he had pulled his groin, but it is negative. There's nothing wrong with him, thank God. If you were watching that, your heart stopped. He needed to go ahead and figure out how to stop throwing interceptions, but I'll take a win. But that's why we're going to get into it. But then, anyways, if you did watch the game, Malik Willis went and came in 4 or 5 from the field, 56 yards, 1 touchdown, and also carried the ball 4 times for 23 yards. Josh Jacobs' game, 25 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft had 3 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. Great play design for setting him up. Obviously, when Love was in there, down the middle, basically extending the play for both guys. Tucker Kraft doing what he's been doing. And then the one that he had got the touchdown on was an unreal play call by Matt LaFleur in the red zone. And then Romeo Doubs just being himself, cool, calm, collective, locked in. I'm loving this guy every time he puts on the Green Bay uniform and he's on the field. He just makes plays. He just does himself justice when he's on the field. And hopefully we continue to see that. And then Jalen Reed had 2 receptions for 55 yards. He had another one where it was like, man, this is another great play design by Matt LaFleur. Talk to me a little bit about this Packer offense right now. We do sit 6-2, I believe, second in the NFC North. Talk to me about the offense this game.
It was off. I think it was pretty evident, even though we scored 30 points. When you say, oh, the offense was off, when I think Jordan Love went out, they had 20 points on the board, 17 points on the board. But either way, if you say an offense is off and you score 30 points in a game,
Right.
I think you might be all right. But it was pretty evident when he pulled his groin, they couldn't go under center again as much because he couldn't push off of that groin. So then we've seen it how many times this year when he's not healthy and he goes into the gun a lot. The running game doesn't get going. The play action game doesn't really get going. And then you saw Malik Willis come in because then it just became to a point where obviously he couldn't protect himself. He wasn't effective. And then all of a sudden you just saw a switch. And I think it's incredible to see usually when a backup quarterback comes in, like offensive coordinators, head coaches, whoever's calling plays, just rip their play sheet in half, turn it over to the hamburger side. Yes, hot dog side. I'm sorry, hamburger's the short side for all of us elementary schoolers out there. They rip it in half, hot dog wise, turn it hamburger side, and then that's their play sheet. 25% of it probably. That's all you can call it. With Malik Willis, it looks like there's a playbook for Malik Willis, and then there's a playbook for Jordan Love.
Right.
Where Malik Willis, you incorporate more of the read options, which was huge because, especially on the Josh Jacobs 38-yard rushing touchdown, that defensive end, if that was Jordan Love, he wouldn't even have came near Jordan Love. He would have just crashed down. Probably Josh Jacobs would have maybe got 4 or 5 yards, maybe 10. We don't know, but that he had to hold his position, and that left side gave a nice push and gave a nice alley for Jacobs, and then he put a move on that defender. Oh my God!
Yeah.
And then he just took it to the house. So it's really interesting to see that offense when Malik Willis comes in. There's nothing that changes. It's just like we've been here with Malik before. We've won 2 games with Malik before. There's no okay. What's the rhythm going to be like? What is What are these receivers going to do? Like, what is Malik going to do if he does? We've been here before. We have a comfortability factor. Only 3 games, and they just it gives you a sensibility where, again, if Jordan Love can't stay healthy, Malik Willis can win football games. Is he going to win you a Super Bowl? I don't want to find out because I'd rather have Jordan Love do that. But it was a scrappy game from the offensive side. Jordan Love I just think that whole day until Malik Willis came in, that pick, I kind of want to. The route was there. It's a tough route for a quarterback to throw healthy. I don't know if Jordan Love could push off on that groin to get into the throw to get it there.
Right.
So I kind of think maybe that's what that pick was because he floated it. So I just maybe he couldn't really drive the ball in there. Other than that, it's a win. It's a win and survive and advance league. The special teams operation looked clean again. It was a tale of 2 quarterbacks. I mean, Malik Willis just comes in and he starts being efficient. 4 or 5. I think he threw for 83, 93 or whatever, and a touchdown. And that touchdown, again, Malik Willis I can't believe I'm saying this, is a red zone weapon because everybody has to keep an eye on him because of his legs. It's amazing what he can do with his legs, first of all. And then all of a sudden, how it affects the defense. Like, we got to be like, the defense is like, we got to be careful now. He's going to run. He likes to run. And then Matt LaFleur was like, all right, you guys are going to protect the run. We're going to just run these nice little fun RPOs on the goal line. And there's Tucker Kraft standing wide open, waving his hand, going, hey, I'm right here. And then he literally walked into the end zone. It's incredible to see. I think this just shows, I think Matt LaFleur is probably the coach of the year.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's – and then maybe Brian Gutekunst should be up there for executive of the year. They took a guy who was 0-3 in Tennessee, nowhere to go because they put all their eggs in a basket with Will Levis, and then they brought in Mason Rudolph for their veteran, kind of like that veteran presence at backup quarterback in case Will Levis doesn't pan out. And Green Bay's like, yeah, we'll give you a 7th. Bring him over here. He's great. And in unfortunate circumstance, Jordan Love goes down, and now all of a sudden you have a backup quarterback where if situations like this happen, you can go, Malik, take over. And everybody in that huddle, everyone in those offensive rooms, offensive meetings, is like, Malik's gonna can win us a game because he's done it, and now we're there, and so it gives you a little bit more comfortability factor going into next week's game. If Jordan Love couldn't go, you're still gonna have a game plan. He's learning more and more each week. That just shows how we heard it. I'm sure you heard it a lot in college. High school and middle school, I know the program that you and I were in, we always heard the importance of mental reps. And, if you're not on the field, watch. This is like the carbon copy of what every coach says. Mental reps are important. Malik Willis is basically proving that right now. He looks every start. I mean, even that play, they didn't even practice that play. They just called it. And it was right there. Yeah, the defender fell down, but that was still going to be open. Like, Reed beat his man. He was going to be open. So, just the offensive coaching, again, we said this in week 2 and 3. Matt LaFleur deserves a ton of credit for being able to not only manage Jordan Love, but then on a snap of a finger, go, okay, we got to switch gears to how Malik Willis plays. So, hats off to them. It wasn't pretty, but I don't think it was their fault, so to say. It wasn't the greatest complimentary football game, but we had last week where the defense carried the offense. This week was more the offense carrying the defense. And, again, survive, advance. It didn't look good, but we got out of there with a W. In the NFL, that's not easy to do. When you don't play your best game and you come out with a W, you take it, you run. And that you just have optimism that when you do get into a groove and you get hot, that we can beat people when we're not at our best. Wait till we are at our best. So it's still early. We're only 8 games in. We got 10 9 to go. We got a bye week. Got 9 to go, and I think everything's going to be just fine in Packerland. Just got to worry about yourselves because I know there's people across the lake. They're doing very, very well. So offensively, it was really good.
Yeah, no, it was good to see because we really haven't seen a game like that in a minute. You know, you have mentioned it earlier that the defense went ahead and kind of saved us here and there. There were some games from the offense that did go ahead and we made a couple points shake out. But all in all, like you said, win's a win. We move on. Moving on over to the defense, a little bit shaky this game. The big thing that I got a couple things here. Obviously, the secondary was a big question mark for me. Obviously, we got an interception with McKinney, which is crazy that he's got as many picks as he has. He's probably got more picks than about 25 teams in the NFL right now. But the big question was just what's going on from the corner situation. We had seen Jair get hurt a little bit when I forget who their tight end was for the Jaguars. Go up and made that play, which was a great play, by the way. But I mean, you got Nixon who was playing slot there. Then Williams went out due to an injury, so a little switches in obviously the secondary. But we can't have that. Things happen like that in a football game. Just how the offense would have had, and Jordan Love went down. Malik came in, did what he needed to do. Tell me what we need to do. I mean, do we go ahead and play Valentine more at the corner position? Does because he hasn't been playing as much. They pulled him like week 4 or 5 or whatever week it was. Talk to me a little bit about the secondary and what needs to happen going in from here on out, because that's a very prime position that we need to get figured out, and it's been a Achilles heel for the Packers for a very long time.
I think it goes hand in hand with your pass rush. I mean, don't forget, the person who caused a fumble in that big play to get that touchdown to really kind of put the game in control of Green Bay more, obviously, was middle linebacker. That was Edgerrin Cooper, who played absolutely phenomenal. That dude is strong. Again, just sprinting towards when Quay Walker returns, going, yeah, Quay, you're not going to be the signal caller anymore. Or you could be the signal caller, but you're not going to be Mike.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Devontae Wyatt came back, played great. Devontae Wyatt being back is great. He's got a great first couple steps off the D-line. He's a speed guy, gets off the ball quick, can shoot, get some penetration, shoot some gaps, make some things happen. But it goes hand in hand with secondary here in a little bit, but Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, they're not doing it. Ken Clark, they're not doing it. They're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Jeff Hafley can only do so much to get you in one-on-one situations. Maybe he didn't bring so much pressure again, which, I mean, you didn't bring pressure last week and it worked. You just kind of made some exotic things. And they only gave the Packers defense only gave up 3 passes out of 15 more than 15 yards. Trevor Lawrence had 8 of them last week. That's a pass rush issue as well as a secondary issue in my mind. So we talk pass rushing is easy to talk about because you either do it or you don't. So middle linebacker coming, Eric Wilson last week had 2 sacks. Edgerrin Cooper had the big play today. But moving on to the secondary, I think it's pretty evident for now that Evan Williams is a better all-around safety than Javon Bullard. I like Javon Bullard and the way he plays. And it's more evident that Keyshawn Nixon needs to stay outside. I know he's played the position before, and so you want comfortability in your slot. I think playing Javon Bullard more close to the line in the slot is more comfortable for him. Keyshawn Nixon outside just looks better. And I think maybe there's got to be someone else over the top if Evan Williams can't go. Because Carrington Valentine had a really good season last year as a 7th round pick rookie. If you want something out of a 7th round pick from a rookie last year, last year was, oh my God, we just got to steal. This year he's regressed. I think that may be because of the emergence of Eric Stokes coming back, which he doesn't look good either. Don't let either of those guys play outside. I think it's Keyshawn's job outside. I think Javon Bullard, when you're in base, can be up top defensively. alongside of Xavier McKinney. But you're in nickel, I think Javon Bullard's the best choice for your nickel. I mean, I bet Evan Williams could play a really good nickel too, but he's so athletic, you want him back there running around with X, because they either one can play center field. Like, obviously you want X playing center field, but you can do so much with either one of them because they're so athletic. I think you want Javon Bullard. I think Javon Bullard's a little bit more physical, so that's why you would like him in the nickel. But I think you just want your more all around. Usually, you want the better all around guy up front, and maybe they look to explore that. Maybe they look for Evan Williams to come down and maybe push Javon back. But they just got beat up, and I guarantee they practiced everything with Evan Williams being up top and Javon being in the slot, and then Keyshawn being outside. And then when you take one away, they put Javon back, they moved Keyshawn in, and they brought somebody else in. Kind of like what we were talking about with Jordan Love going out, except it's not as clean as when Jordan Love goes out and Malik Willis comes in. It doesn't look at that clean defense as a totally different ball game. Well, you hope it's a hamstring, and every time we have a hamstring, I tell you all the time, you tell me all the time, I'm sorry, that those things don't go away.
Right.
So Evan Williams today in the locker room during interviews said that he's good. Like Jair's MRIs came back negative. He's like, he's being Jair. I don't think Jair's never not Jair. But he asked, he's like, my knee's fine. And then he turned and asked Evan, you good? And Evan's like, oh, yeah, I'm good. And so, okay, it is Tuesday. We haven't had an injury report come out. Those don't come out till tomorrow. Let's see if Evan Williams even practices tomorrow. Tomorrow's a walkthrough day anyway. Wednesdays are always your walkthrough days. So if he misses tomorrow, I don't think it's a big deal. When you start missing Thursday, Fridays, obviously that's the big deal. So we just got to wait and see. But I think you just got to try to keep Javon Bullard up and Keyshawn out. It just looks better. If you really want to be think it's way better, play one high. At that rate, keep Keyshawn outside, keep Javon inside, and play one high. That's probably going to be your best look. And then maybe whoever's their third string safety now, because Javon and Evan Williams are the two guys, along with X, whoever your fourth string safety, I guess, if it works, maybe you find someone else there that can maybe ball a little bit. But I just think that Carrington Valentine isn't really doing it. Eric Stokes has proven that he can't do it. And Keyshawn has proven that he's pretty good on the outside, not very good on the inside. Javon Bullard's proven that he's better on the inside and not top, even though he's still pretty good at top, in my opinion. He's better when he's closer to the ball. But Javon Bullard, he's only had 8 games in. So let's give him some time. Maybe that changes it. Defensively, you got to get after the damn quarterback. You're down a guy, secondary help get after the damn quarterback. Maybe Jeff Hafley needs to bring a couple more guys, one more guy. All right, my secondary's banged up. Let's bring one more guy. Let's start getting pressured. Let's rally the ball. Short throws, rally the ball. Something, it just didn't look good. Hopefully it was just like a dud, bad game. Maybe they were not looking at the Jaguars as seriously as they thought they should have, and maybe they were looking at Detroit next week. Be like, we're gonna roll through Jacksonville. Let's just get focused. Let's just get in here, get out, and go to come home and then focus on Detroit. Maybe that's what was on their mind, and maybe that's why they came out flat. I mean, defense played really well the first half, and then the second half they didn't, which usually that's switched. Usually they're really good on the second half and not as good in the first half. So maybe, who knows, man? We'll just wait and see. We got to wait till the injury report comes out. If Evan Williams is out this Sunday against Detroit, it will be not good because Detroit is, we'll get to them, but they're not bad at football. Let's just say that. So
yeah, they're not bad one bit.
They're not bad one bit. So again, you survived, you advanced. Focus up. Let's reset. Let's get focused on Detroit. That's probably what's being said in the locker room. W's a dub. So it wasn't pretty. It didn't make me happy, obviously, but win's a win. Wins do make me happy, but I don't want to see that replicated next week.
Right, and let's go ahead and get into it. Obviously, this is I mean, to stay on that D-line situation, I mean, we are 8 games in. I'm sure we're probably bottom barrel pass rush
Not,
from two
not good.
guys. Like Van Ness hasn't done a damn thing. Shot Gary hasn't done a damn thing. And Preston Smith hasn't done a damn thing either, even though you mentioned it. But that cannot happen against a team that we're going to go ahead and face in the Lions this week because they have weapons all over the place. Jared Goff is playing at an MVP level. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, what are we going to do? You're going to go ahead and try to hold him to how many yards underneath 100 because he's been going crazy these past 2 weeks, let alone this whole season. You got Amase Brown. You got Williams. You got a great
Jameson
defense. You got a
Williams is
great
out.
coach. He's out.
He's
Well, he
suspended.
might be back. Oh, yeah, he's suspended for 2 days, but still, got guys that put up 54
Yep,
points
you're still right.
in an NFL game. That's like basically a college team beating a team 74-0.
Pretty much.
Like, that's basically what it is. So talk to me right now about the Packers of what they got to do to kind of put this Lions team in a box here from what they've been doing this whole previous weeks to go ahead and get this win in Lambeau, because this is a big game. NFC North
This is a
Division.
huge game.
This is a 1-2 situation that we got going on within the division. Talk to me about this game.
It's a huge game. You don't want to go 0-2 in your out of the 6 division games that you have, because the NFC North is stacked. Now, I think Minnesota and Chicago will slow down. LOL at Chicago. If you any Chicago people listening, I laughed and laughed and laughed. I regained my consciousness from laughing so hard, and then I started laughing more. But what you got to do is both sides of the ball. Dan Campbell's going to come in there and shoot some kneecaps. They're going to come in there. They're going to be physical. They're going to bully you. And Green Bay, when they get bullied, if they face a team that likes to bully people, more times than not, they get bullied. It happened last year when Detroit came in on Thursday night, week 5, and absolutely just said, we're bigger, we're meaner, well, maybe not bigger, everyone's the same relative size. We're more mean, we're more physical, we're stronger, we're going to cram this thing down your throat, and you're not going to stop it. And that's what happened. So they need to get their minds right and expect this and match that level of physical. Now the Lions can also be like, all right, you're as mean as us. We're just going to now finesse you. They can play finesse football. They have
Yes,
the
they
team.
can.
Jared Goff's one of the most efficient passer in the NFL right now. The guy doesn't throw many incompletions or interceptions. So they put him in very high percentage throws, and those receivers that get open. And then, if his arm gets tired, he turns around and hands it off to Jahmyr Gibbs, who should have been number one maybe not number one from day one, but is just the better back than David Montgomery. I understand Montgomery's a better red zone guy, but Jahmyr Gibbs, dude, is a stud. And you got to do something. You got to hit him. I mean, he's been hit before. He's probably not going to slow down. You got to hit him, and you got to get up, and you got to hit him again. You have to impose your will on this team, both defensively and offensively, because the defense plays even meaner and even nastier, even more physical. So you got to be ready for that. And Green Bay's offensive line lately has been getting bullied around. Their 3 worst offensive players were Elton Jenkins, Rasheed Walker, and I think I saw Sean Ryan. Either way, that's 2 guys on your left side of the line, and then another guy on your offensive line. There was no quarterback, there was no wide receiver, running back, tight end. Your offensive line was your worst players. So 3 out of the 5 players were your worst players. That's not good. And I understand Aiden Hutchinson isn't there. That's a huge loss for him. I hope he comes back. I think he's going to be. He already is like one of the top 10 pass rushers in the league. But maybe that'll slow him a little bit down. But at the same time, they're still going to just hit you in the mouth over and over and over again. You got to be mentally prepared for that. Last year, Thanksgiving, they did that. They are the ones who punched them in the mouth. And then Detroit, all right, they had to shake the cobwebs. By the time they did, it was too late. So you got to be ready. Offensively, if Jordan Love not go under center, but he plays, because I think he's earned that right, where if he's not 100%, but he can go, he's earned that right to play. it's not. I don't think it's going to be good. If he's not 100%, he can't get under center. He can't get into his drops from under center, play action. It's not going to be good. Maybe they go pistol, but I highly doubt it. I think we saw him try to go pistol a couple times on Sunday. Who knows? But he's got to be able to move, because if he can't move, I'm going to be pretty worried, because we saw against Jacksonville, he couldn't really move and he wasn't very effective. So it might take a master class if he's not. If he plays and he's not healthy, it might take another master class for Matt LaFleur again to get this W. I think Detroit's defense can be got. I think they're kind of similar to Green Bay's defense in the sense of they take the ball away a lot. Their two safeties are top 5 in the NFL in interceptions. And they are, I think, the best PFF, if you want to really get into it. PFF has them as one of the best safety duos in the league. I think Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney were up there, but let's just call them top 2. We got the second or first rated safety duo in the league. So hopefully Jordan Love is on his best mental game to not throw interceptions, and I hope the receivers are in their best game to get open. So this is going to be more of a mental thing for me, I think, than a physical one. I think Matt LaFleur can scheme an offense with the best of them. But then what's a good thing? One person can wreck that scheme by just being a game wrecker. We've seen it before with a couple guys. I don't think Detroit has that game wrecker anymore since Aiden Hutchinson is gone. But guys get hot. This guy's having one of the game of his lives. It could happen. So offensively and defensively, you better be ready, because it's going to be a dogfight. The Detroit Lions damn near look unstoppable, but I think they could be got, and I actually think this is going to be a little closer than some people think. If you look at Detroit's schedule, they faced a couple good teams. They faced the cupcakes of the AFC South and the Dallas Cowboys, and beat the piss out of everybody they can get to. But then they faced Minnesota, and it was interesting. Minnesota had them. Then Detroit drove downfield, kicked a game-winning field goal. They gave up 29 points to the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings, not that they're a bad offense, but they put 31 points on that defense, and that defense is pretty good. So if you're going to win this game, you got to be on it. Defense has got to pitch a master class. Offense has got to do the same. I think if Green Bay wins this game, it's got to be a track meet. 35, 40 points. I said that about Houston, and then it was kind of the exact opposite. But I think if you want to win, I think Green Bay's defense has got to keep bending and not breaking. I think Detroit may get theirs, but you got to get them off the field, maybe holding the field goals, maybe get that one or two explosive plays, get a negative play, get a sack or a takeaway. You got to do something to get Lambeau rocking. I don't know if this is a gold game, which is the Milwaukee crowd for anyone who doesn't know. I don't want to talk about that. But you got to come out with your piss hot, as Matt LaFleur says.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite sayings. You can't get up for this game. This game is 3:30 on Fox. Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt, the whole nation, except for maybe 2 to 3 games, are going to be watching this. You're the game of the week. Are you going to come show out because the lights are bright, or are you going to lay a dud? I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than you think. But man, I'm telling you, Detroit just looks like a freight train that isn't going to be pulling on its brakes anytime soon. And whatever it's in its way, it's just going to keep on chugging. So I hope Green Bay wins, obviously. But Detroit right now, to me, in my eyes, is obviously the best team in football. And I don't know if it's close yet right now. So it's still early. That could change. They could slow down. But Dan Campbell's got them going, and hopefully maybe they can get derailed today on Sunday. It's any given Sunday. It's supposed to rain in Green Bay. We saw it last year when it rained in San Francisco, man. That San Francisco offense didn't look the same. Amon St. Brown and Jared Goff, that football gets wet. Jared Goff has been an indoor quarterback most of his career. It's supposed to be 40 I don't know how about it up in Green Bay. Around here, it's supposed to be 45 and like 50% chance of rain. Get it 40. Get it raining. Detroit plays inside. I know the NFL football players are some of the most strong mentally guys in the league. I mean, all of them are. They play in 5-degree weather and they run around and they try to kill each other, which I could never do in my life. So I know they're mentally strong. And you go, oh, they'll be cold. No, they're not going to be cold. They have heaters and they get new warm jerseys at halftime and yada, yada, yada. But things happen. It can slow down a team that is really good. The elements can, especially if it's wet. So we'll see. I just hope for a really good game. I want Green Bay to win because if they win, I think it might be a three-way tie at the NFC North because I don't think has Detroit lost a game yet? Yeah, they lost to Tampa Bay week
They
2.
lost
So
to
they're
Tampa Bay week 2.
Are they 7-1? I think they're
Either
7-1
or 6-1, one of the two.
Okay.
They got to be 7-1, I think. Maybe
I didn't
one.
know if they had
Who
their
knows?
bye week yet. But if they win this, then you have a potential three-way tie in the NFC North if Minnesota wins as well. Their matchup. I don't know who they're playing. I don't care. I hope they lose. But it's a huge game. If you go 0-2, then you have potentially losing 2 tiebreakers to 2 teams in Minnesota and Detroit. But then after this, you get your bye week. Everyone simmer down. Everyone get healthy because then you go to Chicago for another big game in conference. So we'll see about that. But it's your last week before the bye. Give it everything. Let's go into the win. And then you got a whole week of treatment. Jordan Love's probably going to get dry needled, which makes me absolutely quiver on his groin because I hear that shit hurts. I wouldn't want to be stabbed over and over again in my groin with a little bit of a pulled groin. That would probably hurt like a motherfucker. Just everyone gets hurt. Evan Williams gets another week. Anybody with knocks and bruises gets one more week to just let's get healthy, and then you get the gauntlet of your schedule. It's gonna get cold. Hopefully, come on, it's like 70 degrees out right now. Finish out this week strong, and then we get ready for Chicago in 2 weeks. But I think it's going to be close. I mean, some people, the spread is close, but then there's some people will probably say they're going to win by 50.
No, he knows better than that. He's not going to say that. He's got
he
common
should
sense.
say that. He should say
He's
that.
got common sense.
I'd say it. If the roles were reversed right now, I'd be like, look, you're going to lose by 50.
Man.
But just
that's
because
not even realistic.
No, it's not. But I think you can't let Detroit start fast. Green Bay, you got to start fast. Like, again, I said it against Houston. I said it against Dallas last year. You got to come out of the blocks hot. You got to make some plays early, get Lambeau going, get the good vibes, good juices flowing. And then if you get them down, step on their freaking throats, which is something Green Bay really doesn't do. But I think this game, the tempo and everything might be decided. Not decided, but you're going to be like, all right, this is how this game is going to go within the first 10 minutes. I mean, if it's a stalemate, it might be close the whole time. But if Detroit gets out of the blocks and goes up 14-0, or Green Bay gets up 10-14, 7-0, I think you'll see how this game is going to go. But if it's rain up there, man, like that's the ultimate equalizer for both teams. So then anything could happen if it rains. So I think it'll be close. I think the spread right now is at 4.5. Green Bay is getting 4.5. They're dogs. I think it's going to be close to that. I honestly do. I think it's going to be within a 1-score game.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. I think realistically, both teams are. I mean, they're the best right now within the NFL. I mean, it's going to be I'm not worried about the players. When you got that bye week, those guys are going to be there. They're playing this week. I don't care what news comes out from now until whenever. Those guys are getting whatever treatment they need, and hey, listen, you got to thug it out because we got you to do. We got to have you
poking all over.
We got to have you ready for Sunday, and this is a big game, so I expect all those guys to play, but. I think this comes down to coaching. I think Matt LaFleur's going to have to go ahead and be real creative this game because this is just more than playing, Jacksonville Jaguars or the Eagles or Houston. Like this is a backyard NFC North football game that is definitely going to come down to the wire because both teams within this division, some of you can say, but to me, evenly matched. And they got to go ahead and produce. So I'm excited for this one.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to come down to
325.
four or five highlighted plays. I think you're going to highlight 4 or 5 plays this game to what decided the outcome. I think it's going to be like that.
Right. Hopefully we come on the better end of that. That game is at 325 this Sunday.
Fox.
Fox, which is nice. It's going to be
Tom
cool
Brady.
hearing Tom Brady and all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and move on. Badgers obviously lost to Penn State 28-13. Penn State was all over the run. They couldn't really get anything going. Locke wasn't really as sharp as he needed to be, but he didn't get any help due to wide receivers dropping opportunities to move the chains. Talk to me a little bit right now about this team. I mean, they are 5-3. We, in the beginning of this whole situation, were saying that they wouldn't even be in this position. So I'll give them credit on that. But they got to get back on track. They do face the Hawkeyes in Iowa. Talk to me about this, obviously from a Penn State perspective. And then obviously we'll get into the, kind of some keys for them to win against Iowa.
Wisconsin just basically came down to they didn't make plays.
Yeah.
Wide receivers didn't make plays. I mean, Penn State, Penn State was going to never let Tyree walk.
Right.
They were going to let Braden Locke beat us. If Braden Locke beats us, they were going to tip their cap and get out of town. If they let Tyree Walker beat out, they should be ashamed. They would have been ashamed of themselves.
Right.
From the get-go, you knew that Tyree Walker was not going to Penn State was not going to let him win or let him beat you. They wanted Braden Locke to do it. And I think Braden Locke didn't play a horrible game. I mean, he had the pick 6, which he's going to have one a game. He's kind of like Jordan Love. You just expect, when is that one going to come? He's had I think he's had one in every one of his last 4 games, and then 2 in one of them. So he's had 5 picks in 4 games. But 3 or 4 of them, I think, didn't hurt them. So he got lucky with that, where now that pick 6 didn't obviously help any. But it just came down to Wisconsin didn't make any plays on either side of the ball, really. I think the defense held up as much as they could, but the offense didn't play that good complementary football. The wide receivers just dropped everything. Crazy. You and I could have caught a couple more balls than they did. I mean, Jesus, catch.
I mean, he threw the ball 44 times. Guy, you couldn't catch 3/4 of those, for God's sakes.
I think 8. I think he probably had 8 to 10 drops out of everything else. So it was just. That's probably what Luke Fickell said. They basically just said, no, we just got to make plays. Defensively, you didn't get off the field. I understand in some situations, the offense didn't give you much time to breathe, but defense didn't get off the field. So I didn't think they played, outside the drops, I didn't think they played a horrible game. I just think Penn State just started pulling away because they were the better football team and they had a better game plan to let Braden Locke try to beat him, and he didn't. So I think everybody and their mother knew that Tyree Walker wasn't going to be able to get going because Penn State wasn't going to let him get going. And then Braden Locke just had to sling the ball around the yard, and his receivers didn't make plays. Braden Locke didn't make enough plays either. It's not just the receiver's fault, but nobody around him made plays. And so I think that's pretty simple analysis. I mean, if you and I watched the game, and all we could talk about was the drops. You just got to catch the ball. And they didn't catch the ball. You didn't make any plays. Defense didn't make enough plays. You didn't get any I don't think they got any turnovers.
No, they didn't.
I said before the game, you got to make a play to get Camp Randall going. You didn't really make any plays to get Camp Randall going. So, and then Penn State just kind of ran away with it. So, tough loss. I think that team played their hearts out. They tried the damnedest, but you know what? Penn State was just too good at the end of it.
And then, obviously, they play Iowa this week. That's another huge game. All these games now are just going to get tougher for the Badgers.
Yep.
I mean, I think we both can say, to keep this short and sweet on, obviously, Badger football, I mean, you got to make plays when they're upon yourself to go ahead and put your team in a position to win. And this is another big test for you, again, away on the road. Quarterbacks going to play way better. Wide receivers going to play way better. And if you guys got 9, 10 guys in the box, you're going to have to figure it out because they're going to be doing that from here on out.
You got to do something. Jesus. I mean, I think the book's out. You're going to see every team. The book's out. You're going to see every team do this. I mean, they're not going to put – it's not the conventional Wisconsin offense where if you did put 9, 10 in the box, Wisconsin still might win because the old school football they used to play, they could deal with it. And then they keep you honest by just throwing drags across the middle with their tight ends or throwing bombs to whoever was at wide receiver. That's not this offense again. Again, this isn't that offense anymore. They're going to spread the ball out. They're going to have at least 3 wide. And then the other team is going to have to either play man with one safety over the top to bring another safety in to try to outnumber them in the box. So it's a different type of game. Against Iowa, Iowa defensively hasn't been that great this year. And when I mean not that great, I mean they haven't been top 5 in the country like they have in the past couple seasons. They're still a hell of a defense. Going into Iowa is never easy. I don't care how bad they were offensively. Going into Iowa was never easy, and it still won't be easy. Offensively, they've improved a little bit. They're not if we can score 3 points, our defense will score 10 for us type games. Iowa's proven that they can put points on the board now. It's going to be physical. Again, it's going to be another physical game. Iowa is always a physical football team. You just got to make plays offensively. I think if you play the way you did and make plays, like those receivers, make those catches, it'll lighten up that box, get Tyree going, and that's what you want. And then maybe they bust out a couple big plays. Defensively, just keep doing what you're doing. Be physical, get after the quarterback, get off the field, get a turnover. I think Mark Tressel's done a really good job with his defense. You know him personally. I think he's done really well. The offense just needs to give him more help this game.
Absolutely. That is a 6:30 game, so it's a primetime game. It's going to be fun. I know. Hopefully we can go ahead and get golf early, and then we can watch that like we did again this past weekend.
Yeah, maybe.
Carol,
we'll
be
see.
ready.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't as busy last week. God damn.
That was fun, though.
That was
Not
fun.
gonna lie.
That was a blast.
That was not bad. Yeah. But let's move on. Last but not least, to our good old Bucks. Jesus.
Oh boy.
Bucks right now. I played
ready for
last night. They played last night. The Bucks are 1-2. I don't know, and they lost against the Boston Celtics. So now let's go ahead and change that to 1-3. Not the way you want to start. I had tweeted about this earlier today or yesterday, and today. When you have your head coach saying that we don't have an identity within the 3rd game or 4th game or whatever game it is in the season, and whoever said that is a big red flag. It's a big red flag.
Huge.
That is like when you regardless, I don't even care about the record right now. That is telling me that when trade deadline comes up, that something serious is going to either happen to where Giannis is going to be out of here, and we're going to hear the media. I'm just saying, because you know how media is, and it's already warming up.
They've been doing that 5 years ago.
But I'm just saying right now, like, if we can't go ahead and have our head coach get this type of team that has talent on it, but we don't have any type of fluid offense, we don't have any type of defensive structure, we are old as hell, and we need to win now if we want to do anything, Doc Rivers is not our guy. I'll say it right now. And I guess we have Darvin Ham, but I'd rather have Darvin Ham be the guy in front of Doc Rivers because he was with the Lakers and he knows what winning is like. Granted, they say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I'd rather have him in there than Doc right now because there should be no reason why we don't have chemistry right now because there's time before you get to the real deal to go ahead and get this team in line of what needs to go down. In these past 4 games, we've tried doing this running and gunning with these guys. You've said this multiple times, can't do it. So we need to figure it out. And if we really think that we're going to be able to do this, we are flirting with trying to make it a play-in game because this East is not easy. This is a different type of East than it's been prior. Bulls are good. Charlotte's good. Indiana's good. Knicks are good. We lost to the Nets. Nets are good. Like
they're winning right now.
Yeah, I can go down the line.
They're winning right now. Yeah.
But talk to me about this Bucks team, man, because it's getting ugly very quickly, and we're only 4 or 5 games in.
Okay, I got to break this down. So the first thing is, again, before we talk any basketball, Jimmy don't know ball. Don't know the X's.
You keep it real. Love it.
Don't know the X's and O's. I'm just an average Joe. So I have to read. I have to read into stuff. Like I can watch a basketball game and just give it an eye test. and
Right.
maybe just talk about a couple plays. I don't know, like, well, they ran this play, they put a screen on him. Yeah, you lost me already. So I read into a lot of stuff. I just use the eye test. And the eye
Right.
test said this last season, after the season ended, running it back with Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, maybe a little harsh at this moment on Brooke Lopez, maybe just a little harsh, and then doing nothing in the draft to help you now when there was a dude on that board who could have helped you now. I forget his name. He was from Illinois, and that dude was a baller. He got into a little trouble last year.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He's with Minnesota.
I wanted him so bad. I was surprised he was still on the board. They just went projects. They went for two guys that are in the G League right now. Or yeah, it's G League. And it's just like you are in a win now mode. Bobby Portis probably is the most frustrating, selfish player on that team right now. I call him Black Hole Bobby for a reason. Because when the ball
Black
goes
Hole
in his
Bobby.
hands, he tries to play like a $300 million player. You're not a $300 million player. Why? What? People are like, what? Bobby was so instrumental at when he won the championship. Yeah, that's why he got sat for an entire series. That's why he didn't play in Atlanta that much until Giannis got hurt. That's why you played like 16 minutes. You came on for energy. Know your role. You come on for energy. Get your cokehead eyes out. Make some plays. Make a physical play and tell somebody that they're a little boy. Bump their chests. Make a huge defensive play. Get the crowd going. And guess what? Get your ass off. Sit down. Now he's trying to post up players with 17 seconds on the shot clock left, with that aren't mismatches. If you get a mouse in a house, that's one thing. He was trying to post up Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I'm like, get with 17 seconds on the shot clock left, with Dame and Giannis on the floor. Get the hell out of here. Pat Connaughton is practically useless. Like, the dude is shooting. I think he's shooting under 30 or 20%. He is absolutely useless. He's 31 right now. You weren't even a sixth man in your entire NBA career. Maybe you flirted with it once or twice. So when you're 24 and you're a sixth, seventh man, yeah, you could go around, go balls to walls for 16, 20 minutes a night. You're 31 now. You can't do it. And by the way, you're going 1 for 4, 1 for 5, 1 for 6 a night. And then there's Brooke Lopez, which this is a little different. I see him things that I've wanted to see from Brooke. It's hard to get his old ass moving up and down the goddamn court. If he's on the floor and you're playing a young team, and I'll get to this in a minute. I've seen Brooke with his back to the basket a lot more, and he made his living in Brooklyn doing that. And then he came to Milwaukee, and then he busted out the three ball, which is all fine and good. It's a 3-point league. But you're getting older. You're not shooting that well either.
Right.
But then I see them feeding him. The last night in Boston, they'd get Tatum or Brown on him, and he just put his big ass arm up and put his big ass into him. He's like, give me the ball. I got it. Cool. And then he did his thing down low. I mean, obviously you're not going to make every shot, but that's his comfort zone. He was there. He was the Nets all-time leading scorer, or I don't know if it's all-time, like, leading scorer for a season or two, just putting his ass into people. He didn't take 1 3. And I've been seeing a little bit of more of that. But they're going to be careful with him because he's 35. Here we go with ages again. Get the fact check, Tony. I think he's 35, 36 at 7'1", and he's had some back issues the past couple seasons. He's not going to be able to go up and down the goddamn floor for 30 minutes a game until maybe playoffs, but that's if you manage him right. So that means you're going to have to go 7, 8, 9 guys in the bench the whole season, and your 6 guys a black hole who plays like he wants to be worth $300 million, and he shouldn't be. You got another guy who's basically ineffective and not really giving you the energy minutes, and then you got a bunch of projects. You got AJ Green, who's primarily for offense. He can shoot the ball decent. You got Andrew Jackson, and we call him Ajax. He's the energy guy. Like he played 3 minutes, he had 3 personal fouls. Let's not do that. But he's flying around. He can run around, make some energy plays. He's jump out of the gym. Not a great shooter, but still, that's what Pat and like Dante did when they were there. I mean, Dante is coming to a player of his own. I wish that boy was still here. Oh my God. So this is all on the front office. And again, even Doc Rivers being here is on the front office. You miscalculated with Bud. You should have just let him play out his tenure. I know we got impatient and win now mode. The Bud move maybe wasn't the best idea to do. Fine. We moved past it. And then you hired Adrian Griffin. That when you said, oh, well, we were trying to rebuild, then why'd you go out and get Damian Lillard? And that went to shit last year. And then no one can stay healthy. And so then we come into this season and you go into the offseason and everyone's saying, well, not everybody. There's a lot of people who I've gotten in many arguments with when I say they need to train Bobby Portis. People think Bobby Portis is the glue to all of this type shit. You should have traded Bobby Portis to get some depth. You should have tried to trade Pat Connaughton too. Maybe you could get a depth player for him. And then maybe look to trade Brook Lopez, but I didn't see that one happening. And then you start seeing pictures of Giannis with Brook, and it's just like, are we starting to get into the Aaron Rodgers thing now, where I'm a friend in the most player-powerful league there is in sports? All right, well, that's his best friend. We can't trade him, or else he's going to throw a fit. Dude, Giannis, and this is what I would tell Giannis. I'd be like, dude, I thought he has the work ethic closest to Kobe Bryant I think we've seen since Kobe. I don't know how you feel about that, but
You
that
might be
dude works.
pushing it, but they do work. He does work.
He's in
He
that
does work.
he's in that realm of work ethic. Let's
I
say
don't know
that.
as of right now if he's still hungry because the shit don't look like it on TV.
I mean, that's true. I mean, maybe back 5 years ago, absolutely.
100%.
So, do you want to win? Because your friends on the court right now, they ain't gonna help us win. Like Brook Lopez still guards the rim okay, but you gotta lug his ass up and down the goddamn court. He's not a runner. And then Bobby Portis takes shots away from Damian Lillard and you. We'd rather have you post people up with 17 seconds on the shot clock, not Bobby. And and Pat, by the way, were minus 16, minus 14 against Brooklyn, and I think Bobby was minus 12 last night against Boston. So what are we doing here? And he scored 4 points against Brooklyn, and he scored like 10. Like, get this out of here. And now they're playing so bad, who's going to want them? You're going to have to pay half their deals to get rid of them, and then the players coming in, you might be in the tanks. So, this is on John Horst. Like, this is absolutely on John Horst and this front office. We've seen John Horst make some deals where you're like, how the hell did we manage that and come out the winners of it? He's going to have to give something up. And I mean, he's going to have to tell teams, all right, we'll pay half of Brook, which I don't think Brook's going anywhere. I wouldn't mind seeing Brook not leaving. That's just my take. I think you'll need him for Embiid and Kristaps Porzingis down the line. Take Bobby, take Pat. We'll pay half the deals. We'll give you a couple, maybe even more picks. Give us like your sixth man to a team that's like, we need more draft picks. We need like maybe some more guys to put butts in seats. We've seen him do it before. It needs to happen. You can't win the championship in October. Yes, 1-3 isn't good, but it's not detrimental. But here's the last thing I'm going to say. When you face those bad teams, usually bad teams are what? Young. And what do young guys do really well? They run up and down and up and down and up and down 94 feet for 48 minutes really well as a unit. Milwaukee cannot do that. They cannot run up and down the floor. I mean, Dame might be able to do it, and Giannis might be able to do it. Brook Lopez can't do it for 5 minutes. And then Pat Connaughton, again, as I went through the deal, their bench just isn't good enough. They are getting outscored by the bench astronomically. They are the slowest paced team in the league because they're old and slow. This front office needs to get younger, and they need to get younger quickly because those teams like the Washington Wizards or as we saw, the Chicago Bulls, which I don't think the Bulls are horrible. Like, they're not in that realm. They're
Bulls are good.
yeah, I think they'll be a 5 or 6 seed this year, which usually they're flirting with the play-in game. But you get those younger teams and maybe the worst teams, and then they're just going to run you out of the gym. I am petrified for Indiana because Indiana is fast. I mean, we saw last year how they just ran up and down the court. And by the way, your third of the big three isn't playing. He's probably not going to play 40 games this year. So we don't even know. I don't even know a timetable for Chris Middleton's return. The Bucks are in some serious trouble, dude. As you said, we're probably flirting with. Thank God they give 10 spots away because we are flirting with play-in game. It looks like it right now. If you want to beat the Bucks, and this is really questionable on Boston's hand last night when I was watching, they played a slow game. I was like, why are you playing slow against Milwaukee? Get out there, run the floor, because you do that for 3 to 5 minutes against Milwaukee, they're going to be gassed. And then at the end of the game, they were gassed. Why? Because your bench is horrible, and your stars have to play 38 minutes in October. It's not good. You need to get deeper. You need to get better in the bench, because Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., and Giannis, Brook, and Dame are not going to be able to run up and down that court for 82 games a year. Let's just call it 77 because they get 5 automatic games off. They're not going to do it for 77 games a year. They're not going to be able to play 38, 35, 40 minutes every game and then have to go playoffs. That's how they get hurt. So it's going to take, I shouldn't say miracle. It's going to take some really good deals and probably a little cha-ching to get Milwaukee out of this bad slump that they're in. We'll see. Their one win was against Embiid, and without Embiid and Paul George against the 76ers. And then you lost to the Nets, you lost to the Bulls, and then you lost to the defending champs, which actually, it looked really good. I think it looked a lot better last night than what it did against the Nets. But then Boston's so deep. They just kept putting their 7, 8 guys in, 6, 7, 8 guys in, keep them fresh. And Milwaukee's like, well, we got to try to play the bench players, and then the bench players would be dog shit. And so it's not good right now. It's not good. You need to get younger because the number one thing for Giannis was, what's your goal for the season? Stay healthy. You're not going to stay healthy playing like this because now book's out. Teams are just going to start running the floor on you. And you're going to drop a lot more of those games where you should win than you shouldn't because of it.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is basically just making my point even more clear. Coaching matters. I don't care who you got on the offensive side. You got LeBron James. You can have AD. You can have KD. You can have Devin Booker. You can have Anthony Edwards. If you don't have a system in place to where you know it's your bread and butter and not knowing your personnel, because Doc Rivers doesn't know his personnel at all, and he didn't even know his personnel last year.
I don't even think he has a personnel.
It was all single ball.
5.
It was all single ball. You don't develop anybody.
Nope.
And it shows. Like, just prime example last night. Boston brings in a guy, 6, 7 guys that go for over 5 points because you know why? They're coached. They know their role. They know when to take shots. And their coaches know their players.
They play a great brand of basketball.
So it's that simple. It's that simple. So, we don't have the coaching.
Nope.
Like I already tweeted today. Start getting Rajon Rondo a deal. Get him as the assistant coach. Get Doc Rivers out of here. Put Darvin Ham as the head guy. Do it now. Don't wait to do it. Don't wait 40 games in because we don't have our next best player or a big three, He's out for 40 games. So we're just going to lose 30 games, 20 games, 25? What are we doing?
You're not good enough to backdoor limp into the playoffs as a 7 seed.
What are we doing? We're not even
and then expect Middleton, Dame, and Giannis to just turn up and then all of a sudden be contenders. You're not good enough. Talent-wise, for those 3, yeah, I think you're good enough. But we're not in the 3v3 league.
Nope.
We're playing 5v5. It takes 9 to 10 guys to get through an NBA season, and the Bucks legitimately probably have maybe 5. Maybe. I mean,
Well,
again,
yeah,
the book's out on Brooke Lopez. I think
the
Torrin
book's
Prince
out
will
on the
hold it.
Bucks.
Yeah, that too.
It's
I'm
not
just
it's not hard.
I'm just saying if Torrin Prince would be a starting in this if your bench was better, I think he'd still be a start. I don't know if Gary Trent Jr. would, but he'd be a good 6 man off the bench. You just need guys like they did when they won it. You had 3 guys come off the bench, maybe 4. Yeah, they know the role because Pat Connaughton knows his role. He can't do it. Bobby Portis thinks he's top 10, plays like he's the top 10 player in the league, backing people down with 17 seconds left of the shot clock, taking shots away from Damian Lillard and Giannis. And then that's about it. AJ Green, he'd be an 8th, 9th guy on every other team. He'd be a really good 8th and 9th guy. But he's undersized. You can't put him on because teams are just going to isolate him, and he's not good defensively. Ajax is still young. It's not a good team.
No.
They are in trouble. And when your 2 stars score 32 and 30, 30 and 32, I think that was their line last night for points, you should win over 75% of your games, and they lost.
8 guys combined for 20 points off the bench. 8 guys. 8 guys.
I rest my case. So
8 guys.
when you
But it all
expect
comes.
that,
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to is right now is that we are on the hot seat right now for the Milwaukee Bucks to possibly even go ahead and be in a playoff race. I mean, literally, it's the same ever since we won a championship. We have not got Giannis down in the post. We continue to make him think that he's a jump shot guy. He's not a jump shot guy. It's so much single ball out there, and there's no fluid motion. What does it come down to?
he
It
should
comes to
be
coaching.
he
Comes down
should
to
be
coaching.
playing. He should be playing He's starting to play the 5 a lot more.
No preparation, not knowing who your players are. This has been the same thing since they have, after won a championship, is that they don't know what to do with their people. And for the
Nope.
love of God, if Giannis is a guy that we know he is, put his ass on the block, back to the basket, get Brooke Lopez out on the 3-point line, have him shoot threes. Giannis can pass the ball, and have guys say, listen, be ready to shoot the ball, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and score this. But again, it comes to coaching. Doc Rivers doesn't know what he's doing.
Nope.
That's what it is.
I mean, Shaq said it best. He picked Milwaukee to win, and then someone asked, "What about Doc Rivers?" He goes, "Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind."
Yeah.
I mean, they know. I mean, he's a smart. Obviously, he's a smart dude. Doc Rivers has the only championship he has was the first ever big 3 of Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett in their prime. Kevin Garnett was probably one of the best at his position. Ray Allen's the best shooter to ever play the game, and Paul Pierce was just at the time a really good. I mean, I think he was a little they call him the truth. He call him the truth, but I think obviously those 2 made him better. And then the emergence of Rajon Rondo, Big Baby Davis, and that was the only championship he won, and that was an incredible
that was like
team.
2 decades ago or whatever.
That was 14 years ago. It was like 08. So that's his only championship. It took the first ever super team. We'll call it that. I mean, obviously back in there's been other super teams, but the first ever huge, high profile big 3 to ever do it is the only championship. And then he got another big 3, didn't work. And then he went to Philly, got another big 3, didn't work. The cream's in the crop here.
We'll take them though, Bucks. Oh, don't worry, we'll take you
because it was a major miscalculation by the front office. So
front office sucks.
John Horst is for the past, I'd say 7 to 10 years. I think he's been pretty damn good. I don't know how long he's actually been there, but ever since he's been here, he probably should have won Executive of the Year. He's been pretty good, and now after the Bud firing, just here's a snowball. And it's just going downhill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it will blow up. And when it blows up, you're probably going to lose one of Giannis or Dame because of just, you let Giannis control things. He didn't want Nick Nurse, and I thought Nick Nurse would have been a great hire for the Bucks. I think I'm a fan of his work. He took the Kawhi Leonard's the Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptors, who were really underachieving. People didn't give him any credit, and he took them to an NBA championship. I was a fan of his work, and Giannis just said, no, I don't like him. And they were like, okay, because you got to cater to the superstars in the NBA. Because the NBA is the most player power league in all of sports. The players have all the power. Coaches don't really have power. The execs don't really have power. You got to listen to your superstars. That's why Bronny James is in the NBA right now. Because why? LeBron said so. You better draft him because I said so. Because I'm LeBron James. I mean, it's a different type of profile with LeBron James, but that's my example. It's a player power league, and Giannis wants Brooke there. Giannis probably wanted his buddy, whoever, if Bobby and him are buddies, it's not going well. And it's not going to end well unless you can convince, we got to get rid of these guys. I know you won a championship with a lot of them, but that's time's done. Let's go win another one with different guys. Time to move on. All good things must come to an end. And as well as Bobby, Pat, Brooke, and giving us some really good memories, it's time to move on. Like, all good things come to an end. Brett Favre said it, and then he went and played for 3 more years. So it's a totally different. It's not going to be good. I'll just say that. It's going to be evident. Doc may be fired by Christmas.
Yeah, he'll be fired way before that. He needs to be.
If this continues, he will be fired by Christmas.
Look at what he did last year. Look at this year, the start of the season. You don't need to watch a whole bunch of NBA games to see that a team is either going to be struggling for a long time or they're going to be really struggling. So we'll see.
When average Joes like me are calling out problems,
that means something bad's about to happen.
Big problem. Huge problem. That's not good. If I was saying, well, blah, 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 and people are like, you don't know what you're talking about, and it goes, well, yep, my bad. No, I said they were too old. I said they were too slow. I said I didn't like the hire of Doc Rivers. Obviously the Dame trade made everyone, look, a shiny thing. And I'm like, this is not going to be like, not that I didn't like the Dame Lillard trade. I'm like, you got to keep getting players around them. And the front office doesn't have that win now mentality. They're like, let's build it up. You only have 3 years. We're in year 2 of Dame and Giannis. Next year's the last year. And hell, you may have to trade one of them to get better. I mean, so, because a team's going to be calling for Dame Lillard. I mean, absolutely. Not that I want to see him go, but if that's the thing to get you better, you could still be competitive with Giannis and Chris Middleton. Because people are going to give a haul for Dame Lillard. You could do it. I don't want to see it, because I would love to see Dame Lillard and Giannis run it to a championship, but somebody's going to have to be the sacrificial lamb, and I think Pat being the sacrificial lamb is just, people are going to be like, I don't want that lamb. I want the big one, and that's Dame Lillard. So we'll see. This team could look totally different come January. Things in the NBA can happen really quickly. So this team, if it goes downhill, could change, and it could look totally different. You can't lose a championship in October, and you can't win one either. But if this continues, by December, you might be fighting for a championship just to have an opportunity to play for it, essentially. So we'll see. Let's see if it gets better. If it continues like this, Doc's going to get fired, trades are going to be made. This Bucks team's going to look a whole bunch different. Hopefully it looks different for the better and not for the worse.
Well, buckle up, fans, because it's going to be a long season for the Bucks. But they face the Grizzlies this Thursday and then the Cavaliers Saturday. A lot of good games on, especially for our Packers and Badger football. Obviously, Badgers play 6:30 Saturday. Packers play 3:25. Both those are primetime games. I think both are on Fox. And then obviously Bucks, you can see them on Bally Sports or ESPN. It's called
or whatever they are. FanDuel now. Did you know that? I was looking for my Bally app, and where the hell this is? FanDuel Network or Sports Network now. I'm like, I hate this shit.
Make it simple for us viewers, but you guys have a good one. Jim, appreciate you, brother.
Hey, let's have a good week.